So, this is going to be a fun one. Welcome, everyone, to the Dragoon's Lair podcast. I am the Blue Dragoon himself, Daniel the Dragon, and with me once again is the family man, James Haynes. We want to thank you all for tuning in. This is a two-man show once again. Mike has had previous commitments, so he won't be here on this episode. Hopefully, he'll be back for the next one. We want to thank everyone for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and share this with your friends. Let them all know. Make sure you follow us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, Amazon Podcast, and on the YouTube channel, Blue Dragoon 13.
The week after.
Exactly.
Or you can email Blue Dragoon's Lair podcast at...
Well, it's not Blue Dragoon's Lair. You were on the show. It's the Dragoon's Lair podcast. And you can email me at dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. That's all one word. Dragoon is spelled with two O's. That's dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com.
Perfect.
Yes. Now that we got the shameless plugs and promotions out of the way, we are a non-sponsored show. We gave you guys a little bit of a heads up as to what we're going to be going over, at least just movie-wise. Yeah. But just so you all know, we're going to be talking the Royal Rumble because that event is going to be something that we need to discuss, along with the new Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man cartoon and the movie They Live. So that's our topics for today. So if you have not seen any of them, I highly recommend you pause this episode, go check it out later on, come back to us after you've watched. But the Rumble, you can catch a lot of highlights on YouTube, so I'm not worried about that one.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
We'll get to that one later. Now, let's start off with the Royal Rumble, because that was a big event. What was that, like this special start time? 6 o'clock. It ran till, what was it, 10:30?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that one
not including the after show.
Yeah, so it ran pretty long. It was a good show. Mm-hmm. Started off with four matches, which I'm not a big fan of less matches during these pay-per-views.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
The Rumble is something, especially when you have a men's Rumble and a women's Rumble, you can get away with less matches. It does, however, take away from some of the other storylines that have gone on. So Jimmy, you want to start us off with the women's Rumble? What were your opinions?
The women's Rumble, where the ever-popular Pat McAfee had his famous saying of, what? Holy shit moment?
Yeah, well, that's Pat McAfee.
Yes, but I will say this. I was shocked that a few wrestlers weren't there, and I believe you were too.
Yeah.
I was happy that certain wrestlers were there, and very, very happy when the bitch came back with the little dolly.
Oh, but you know what? Can't even call her that because, let's face it, Alexa Bliss's return was the absolute highlight of the women's Royal Rumble match. You know, I give them a lot of credit. Roxanne Perez being the Iron Woman lasting.
Holy crap.
She came in at, what was that, number 3?
3.
Number 3 lasted till the very end.
Oh, an hour and 7 minutes to change?
So she set a record there on that one.
She beat Bayley's record, and she's going to start rubbing it in till Mania.
Oh, yeah.
Watch.
But now the thing is, you know, we all knew Charlotte Flair was coming back. There were a few surprises. I wasn't too thrilled with Nikki Bella coming back. I wish it would have been like Asuka.
Yes.
But, oh well.
Asuka's shots.
I was happy that Trish came back, though. Trish's entrance into the Rumble was a good comeback, because we haven't seen Trish since her fallout with Zoe Stark.
Yep.
And
the three of them in there, forget about it.
The Pure Fusion Collection, the PFC, that is the stupidest name they've come up with so far. But, you know what?
I was actually a little disappointed that they didn't get to eliminate that many people like Breaker and Roman in the men.
You know what the thing is, though? It's also, if you notice, there were women who were absent from the Rumble that you would have liked to have seen. I would have loved to have seen Isla Dawn, Alba Fire. Would have loved to have seen Kaden Carter, Katana Chance. Seeing them in there would have put a little more high-flying action into it.
And even some Kofi moments.
Oh, yeah. We didn't even get the New Day in the men's, but we'll get to that one after. Yeah. So that was an interesting entire matchup for the women's Rumble. We knew Charlotte was going to win. It was pretty much a foregone conclusion. But did you catch with Alexa Bliss a few of the little tweaks that are there? Because Lily's eye has a 6 in it.
Yep.
And A lot of the rumor mill is saying that she may be going and taking over as the de facto leader of the Wyatt Six. So that should be interesting if that's the case, since Bo Dallas is out injured.
I think she's been given the balking orders since
Day
one.
Yeah. But, there's been the 6. But you know what? There's only been 5 of them, which I always assumed that the Wyatt 6 was Bray was their 6th man. So looking down on them, he was always there. But she also had Friend Forever, but it was really said Fiend Forever on her jacket, which didn't get a lot of hype, but
it gave good. Good tribute to him.
So it'll be nice to see, and what they're saying is she will be on SmackDown. So that's what we're going to be looking forward to seeing, where her storyline goes. And she did not look like she missed a beat.
No.
In all honesty, neither did Trish.
No.
And I will give it to Nikki Bella. I'm not the biggest Bella fan.
She just got murdered on the Traitors, and then she's already there. Like, that made me laugh.
But she just went, and she came back looking good. Not like, there didn't really seem to be a lot of ring rust. No. But it's hard to tell how much ring rust there is when you're in a Rumble match where you have so many people around you.
The only way you can tell ring rust, or at least the returns of people, is the men. It used to be them like, oh my God, how fat they got.
Yeah.
And everything, and how crappy they do a move. But I'll tell you one thing: none of the ladies.
Oh no,
they had spot on spot and everything. I mean, even Jordan Grace, who is now WWE.
Oh, Jordan Grace she came out. It was amazing to see her in there. The NXT stars that all came out.
5 of them.
5 NXT stars, so it gave them a chance to shine. But like I said, there were main roster women that I would have liked to have seen. But this did show one thing that I think Bailey may have touched on it on one of her internet posts. Don't shoot me if I'm got that one wrong. But we got more than enough women that it's time for an all women's pay-per-view.
Again.
Yeah. So we need a women's Evolution 2. Because there's more than enough women for this kind of competition. And let's face it, if you're going to do the Rumble next year in Saudi, I think the women should get a pay-per-view all of their own.
Yep.
It would only be fair, considering the fact that their Rumble match is going, like I said,
it's going to be crap.
Yeah, and the thing is, Zelina Vega, her costume coming out, she looked amazing. She won't have that ability to do something like that when they're in Saudi.
Everybody's going to have to dress like Nia or look like, what do you call...
oh, no, you basically have to be covered up. I'm surprised they're not making them wear a burqa. The simple fact of the matter is, their culture is their culture, and I'm not going to disrespect their culture. No. However, you're watching the women on television. I think I said this in the last episode, but they're watching this on television. They're already seeing their costumes, everything that they do, so they know how much skin is shown. Now, when they're going to perform in your country, you want them to all of a sudden go and cover up because of your delicate sensitivities.
And you notice that the WWE museum is over there.
Yeah, which is a problem because we don't have anything here. No, at least, you know what?
It's a traveling show.
Yeah, but the thing is, the Hall of Fame, there should be a physical building for the Hall of Fame. You figure they are doing the show where they're looking for those lost treasures.
Yep.
And you're getting them for a Hall of Fame that physically doesn't exist.
New York State has one, because I know that.
But that's a wrestling overall.
Yeah, because a friend of mine, God rest his soul, who used to do referees in MSG. If you look back on the old MSG, you could see him there and everything. And he was inducted into that Hall of Fame.
Now, let's move on. After Charlotte won, we went for the tag team titles. 2 out of 3 falls. The Machine...
Which was a good chase.
The Motor City Machine Guns versus DIY. And that match went back and forth. It was good, and I was not expecting the Street Profits to come back, interfere, help DIY, retain the titles, and beat the shit out of them.
I know.
It was a great turn.
Let me tell you something. That was a great turn. It's a great chase for this storyline.
Yep.
And I will tell you this, that first fall, That was genius.
Now,
because of the fake tag.
Listen, I love what they've done. DIY and the Motor City Machine Guns, they've been putting on some amazing matches. But the thing is, I feel like the Street Profits have been overshadowed far too much. So,
far too long.
Oh, way too long. The thing is, they kind of got screwed over when Bobby Lashley didn't re-sign. Mm-hmm. So they kind of feel like they've been left out in limbo. But now that SmackDown is a 3-hour show, it gives them a chance to get more tag team action in there. So I want to see them do something with the Street Profits.
And it still keeps B-Fab employed.
Well, B-Fab's been kind of like now partnering up with Mia Yim.
Which is good because
remember, Mia Yim,
Hit Row went down.
She was the only one to stick around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now,
listen,
what do you call
at least,
Adonis is in NXT.
The thing is, you have to give credit where credit's due because B-Fab did a good job in the Women's Rumble.
Yes, she did.
But I was not expecting Ford and Dawkins to come out and like use the crutches, beating the hell out of DIY after they got them. Oh yeah, it worked beautifully. The spots were on point. Then we had the ladder match for the title, Cody versus Kevin Owens.
With a special shout out to Hornswoggle and his lovely ladder he left behind.
Oh yeah, the small ladder made a huge difference in that match.
No pun intended.
No, none whatsoever. Because when you've got a small, like a step ladder versus what is that, like a 12-foot ladder?
12 and 16 footers.
Yeah, so you've got 12-foot, 16-foot ladders. You've got a 4-foot ladder, you can throw that one around a lot more, do a little more damage, which I thought was great how they utilized everything. But the physicality from that, Kevin Owens took some amazing spots in that, and brutal, vicious, and his commitment.
And he got up afterwards.
Yeah, but the fact that he went and he was stuck, his head was between the rungs of the ladder while he was upside down. The fact that him and Cody didn't go and were able to even walk out of the arena says so much between their athleticism and
the endurance, everything.
Oh, yeah, that match was brutal. Now, let's get to the Men's Rumble.
Oh, yes.
Now, the Men's Rumble match, that was Luchador Central early on.
Yeet.
Yep. You start off with Rey Mysterio and Penta. Everyone was going crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So you have Rey Mysterio, Penta. Then it's like, all right, we got the guy that's got trouble, Chad Gable coming out. You know, we could go through every one of them, but there was luchador after luchador. I was almost expecting Dirty Dom to come in early, and he came in later. There really weren't a lot of surprises in the Men's Rumble.
No.
But I was thrilled to see Joe Hendry. I was upset that Hendry didn't get to stay in the ring when Cena got there, because I wanted to see Hendry and Cena together. That would have been good. That was the thing I would have loved to have seen. And in all honesty, if they can get Joe Hendry to be maybe John Cena's last match, I think like that would be
at least put him in between.
Yeah, but that would be an ultimate passing of the torch for someone else, because Hendry, he has basically done what like Cena did, where it's capturing the crowd, and Hendry knows how to do it. Cena's been able to go back and forth with the crowd, but Hendry, everyone believes. When you see Joe Hendry, his song, I believe in Joe Hendry.
We all believe in Joe Hendry.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's Hendry. I want to see him and Cena together in the ring.
He does a rock-esque sing-along.
He has that.
He's got the guitar, everything.
Well, that's the thing. And the weird thing is, like, WWE's had their singing performers before with, like, Elias and stuff, and things don't work out. But Hendry's one of these guys that it works with.
Yeah.
He can make it work. So that was the one, like, real major surprise. The disappointment was we had Logan Paul at number 30, which, no.
Thank you.
Please stop putting him in big matches.
Please just stop putting him in.
No, listen, I get it. He's trying to be a WWE superstar. He's not a superstar. The kid, I will give him that he's athletic. No one really wants to see him, and no one wants these prime bottles all over the fucking place.
But the best thing was when LA Knight started the kick fight.
Yeah.
Wait. No, AJ Styles got it.
Yeah.
No, wait, then everybody just
they all took turns beating the hell out of him. The thing was, though, there was a little controversy because of LA Knight, because they were saying like he was trying to get all of his spots in, and Drew wasn't too happy because Drew's elimination with him and Damian Priest, it didn't go and give more story to it, which I can understand being a little disappointed with that, considering the fact that from WrestleMania, Drew lost the title so quickly to Damian Priest, which I really wanted to see Damian Priest be one of the last men in there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he went out a little sooner than I would have liked. You know, even if he wasn't going to win the Rumble, I would have liked to have seen him in there longer. But, you know, because Damian Priest is one of those guys that he is this new generation's version of The Undertaker, walking the top rope.
Ray's a mixed.
Yeah, he's a mixture of two of what could be considered arguably two icons, if not two guys that would be on the Mount Rushmore for people of their WWE.
The Attitude Era.
Yeah, not even just WWE as a whole. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, because Ray just keeps looking better and better. I was amazed he didn't last as long as he did, but Penta put in one hell of a long performance. Yeah. And that's the thing. He's still undefeated as of the time we're recording this. So, I mean, we're getting a lot of great stuff. Now, Cena and Jay Uso being the last two, I honestly thought it was going to be Cena, but I was not disappointed with Jay Uso getting that win.
A lot of people, let me tell you something. Either way, both of them, no matter what, that was a win-win right there.
But I do have to say, my prediction for Elimination Chamber, we already know Cena's in.
Yeah.
We know Punk is in. But I honestly believe that it's Punk, Cena, Reigns, Rollins, Drew, and probably, and I hate to say it, but Logan Paul.
Please, God, no.
I hate to say it.
I know.
But at the same time, because they're going to want, the upcoming Monday Night Raw, after this has been recorded, is going to be Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio for the qualifying match.
Yeah.
Would I love to see Rey in there? Yes. However, Rey's not young enough to take those bumps from an Elimination Chamber the same way. Well, so his recovery won't be the same.
No.
Throw the kid in, get that kid to get his ass beat, because there's no way Logan Paul can walk out of there as the winner. But he's already proven he's a sore loser as it is. I'm not a fan of Logan Paul. In all honesty, if you're a WWE fan and you want to get rid of a wrestler, stop reacting to them. That's the thing. If you're booing them, you're giving them heat. You're giving them what they want. They want you to react. And that's the biggest thing you can't do.
Taker on his thing about Hogan's reaction when they booed him.
Oh, yeah. Taker was fine with it. He was like,
you kidding?
It's like he got what he deserved.
Yeah.
The thing is, Hogan took his ball and went home. Now that it's like he's realized, I got to take responsibility for my actions. Please.
He should have said, I'm taking my beer logo with me.
Yeah.
Fine. We'll call Stone Cold.
Yeah, but the thing is that when you take someone like Logan Paul, where people just don't like the arrogant little shit, don't watch his match. I know it's a downside for the guy who's up against, but turn around. Stop facing the ring. Have a conversation with the person on the other side.
Go grab a soda. Go grab popcorn.
Yeah, like that is not a match. Like, you don't react. Like, stay quiet. Even if you want to still watch the match, don't cheer, don't boo, don't clap, nothing. Let his matches go silent, and WWE will have no choice but to get rid of him, because no one will give a crap.
Exactly.
You figure, what was it that John Cena said to A-Town? Told Austin Theory, it's like, I'd rather be bald than go and have them piping in like crowd noises for my matches. That's what they would have to do for Paul. And I don't want to see Paul get any kind of heat, nothing. I want him gone. And the only way to get him gone is be quiet, be silent.
Don't even cheer for anybody else and everything.
Yeah, cheer for everybody else. You can go crazy. You want to boo Dirty Dom? Dom earned the heat that he has. So there's nothing wrong with that. My problem really boils down to Logan Paul. He's not a wrestler. He's a wannabe at best. He's that guest celebrity. I don't want to see him in there anymore. It's a joke.
Yeah.
He's taking a spot away from somebody who actually deserves it. Mm-hmm. So
that could have been Karrion Kross.
Oh yeah, that could have been Kross. That could have been a lot of other people. And yet we got stuck with him as number 30. We could have had a bigger surprise. He wasn't a surprise. He was a disappointment. Mm-hmm. And I have to even space that out because he is a disappointment, not a disappointment. There's an emphasis there. But now let's move on because Disney Plus dropped the new Spider-Man. There are 5 episodes available at the time of recording this.
There was 2 last week and 3 this week.
Yeah.
Which was a shock.
Which is funny because what did you see what Amazon Prime just did?
No.
On Amazon Prime the other day, Invincible just came back. So with Invincible came back, dropped the first 3 episodes.
Okay.
But when you're looking at the episode list, it's telling you what day each episode is going to air. So there's already a list. So thankfully, it's not like that break we got last time where it was like it disappeared for a few months and then came back, but people were forgetting what the hell was going on. But your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Now, there's been a little controversy over the actor who's voicing Spider-Man talking about the show being woke and him being worried that it was going to be woke. I want to get this out of the way because I hate talking political on here because we're trying to be a distraction for everybody.
Yes.
But being woke, are you fucking kidding me? First off, it's being awake and aware of what the hell is going on in the world, not burying your head in the sand. So the term is a joke just to begin with. But Spider-Man has always been extremely diverse. That's why one of the things that Stan Lee said, which was great about Spider-Man, you don't know who he is because he's completely covered in his costume. He could be black. He could be Spanish. He could be anyone. He could be Asian. You don't know who he is. So he's a hero who can appeal to almost anyone. Not only that, he has real world problems. Mm-hmm. So you're worried about a show being woke? I honestly say, I hope you're recast. Like, that's the thing. The kid voicing Peter, not bad, but at the same time, I'd almost want to see him recast.
Tom, Toby, and Andrew, please be ready.
Yeah, in all honesty, I would really rather...
I would rather have them.
I'd rather see Andrew Garfield come back and voice an animated Spider-Man. Like, that to me would be absolutely amazing. But now, with these episodes, the way they've got the tone of the show, first off, I want to start with the animation style. It has like that vintage, like comic book style. It almost rotoscoped with some of the looks for it, with the cell shading, the paneling.
The theme song is so nostalgic.
It's a great combination of the old and the new.
Yes.
So it works beautifully together. The art style looks great. Because sometimes, when you're watching one of these newer shows, you're not sure if they're going to go too CG for it, like what the animation style is going to be. This one it's not on the same level as Across the Spider-Verse or Into the Spider-Verse, but it's up there and it looks beautiful.
Yes.
So the art style is amazing. I love what they've done. I love the character designs. They used some characters that are lesser known that they haven't been focusing on, which is great because it gives a little more diverse cast. Because how many times can you watch the same villains over and over again? We need a break from some of them.
Exactly. And they're showing you a different origin of all these villains.
Oh yeah, even this is like almost a 616 adjacent universe, because instead of Tony Stark being the person to recruit Spider-Man, it's Norman Osborn.
Yep.
And he's not even fully recruiting him. He's offering him like kind of an internship at one of his programs, which I think was a great turn, but it had the same style of him sitting there in the living room talking to May, and they kept May young, so she's still kind of like Marissa Tomei's version. They've done such a great job with this. I understand like some people are like, oh, they keep trying to make Spider-Man more like ever since Tom Holland took over the role. It's what fits the tone. Now, granted, they're not showing Ben, so we're not seeing Ben is already gone, and he didn't have the powers yet. Although, with him not having powers and seeing Doctor Strange taking on, that was like a symbiote on top of another villain. Which villain was that? Because I couldn't figure that one out.
I couldn't figure it out either.
I was like, is that a symbiote on like Nightmare or something? Because the symbiote kind of was there, and it looked like Venom, but it wasn't Venom. And the spider comes out through the portal.
Yeah.
So there's like a little bit of a mixture there, even with like Across the Spider-Verse, where, like they said, Miles Morales got bit by a spider that wasn't supposed to get him. It was supposed to be from another universe, and that was supposed to be for Peter Parker. Mm-hmm. So they did such a great job with kind of fusing everything together. The character design for Norman and Harry, those characters look great. It's a newer take on things. They don't have Flash Thompson there,
no,
but they are giving you like a whole different group.
Lonnie,
and the fact they have Nico from the Runaways is there, which lesser known show that came on Hulu, which was so worth it.
Yeah,
I have to say the Runaways, that was disappointing that it ended when it did. I feel like it could have kept going.
That one and Cloak and Dagger.
Oh yeah, Cloak and Dagger should have kept going. But that's the thing. It was merge everything under the Disney banner. It's like Hulu's already under the Disney banner. I don't know why you couldn't just keep going. But whatever. We want everything on Disney Plus. And stop whining. Mm-hmm. But now the Lincoln story and now it took him to episode 5. And they call him Tombstone by the end. So he's
Lincoln is Tombstone.
He's earned his nickname of Tombstone.
And then who's they facing? The Scorpions.
Yep, Matt Gargan.
Who is
the Scorpion. So they're really going for some deep cuts, keeping it street level. They're even mentioning the Sokovia Accords in this. I cannot recommend this version of Spider-Man enough so far.
I agree.
There's a part of me that it has a little bit of a feel. I don't know if you remember the Spider-Man MTV cartoon.
Yes.
Yeah, it has that little bit of a feel of that, where it was slightly different, but the animation, it's not fully CG, where that was more CG. But this, it's like, it has a great tone to it. And seeing Nico, Andrew, like Lincoln, like they've got so many.
Seeing Doc Ock is a weapons pusher.
Which, yeah, he doesn't have the arms,
no.
And he's basically the tinkerer, but he's the inventor, and he's used these monikers before of the inventor.
And I have a funny feeling that the girl that went to see him, that's Silver Sable. She's from the comics.
Yeah, I don't think it was though,
but you know that the other guy that was with her, I think that's the Rhino. I
don't know, because that's the thing. Yeah. We're gonna see how this
pans out.
Yeah, I mean, they're 5 episodes in as of the time we're recording this, and this Spider-Man has been something that I didn't even want to discuss any anime this week because how good this Spider-Man series has been.
Yeah, and I'll tell you one thing that makes me laugh at this. Norman Osborn and Harry here remind me of Howard and Tony Stark in that way.
Oh, yeah.
Because Howard and Norman are basically their mentor. It's like, that's what it feels like with them. That
They're also mirror images, kind of, because Howard Stark was kind of the neglectful father. Yeah. Norman was neglectful to a point.
But look how he is. He's like the playboy if you look on the Instagram and everything like that.
But that's Harry's become the playboy, which copies Tony.
Yes.
So there's like, they're mirror images of each other. It's just a matter of which way they fall.
Now, did you also, speaking of images, did you catch when they always ask Peter up to Norman's office?
Yeah.
Captain America and King T'Challa.
Yep. Yeah, so, and that's the thing. This is Norman's not a bad guy at this point.
No.
So, but he's already concerned, and he's telling Peter, I'll worry about the Sokovia Accords and stuff.
Yeah.
The suits, though, that he gives them the experimental suits. That was absolutely great because there were certain elements that work with the Spider-Man costume, and then there were others that didn't. Having him basically be like a firefly with like the kind of gyroscopic wings, like that one was like the cape. The costume looked kind of cool, but the fact that he got tied up in the cape, like they didn't lose any of the heart that is part of like Spider-Man. It's like giving him all these different costumes to try, and the costume that he has right now,
that's from the Fantastic.
It looks like the Fantastic Four's Future Foundation style.
Yes.
So I mean, the white with like kind of the bluish black, it doesn't look bad. But it's also a little bit of the equivalent of almost the anti-Venom.
Yeah.
So
that's why even Harris says, you know what, you need a little red there. Which, like I said, even with with Tony, it's like put a little fire engine red into the arm.
Yeah, there is a little red, like a little streak on the arm, which or actually more on the side. Yeah. The thing is that what I wish they would have done, because when you saw Peter's like drawings in his art notebook for his concepts, he has the costume and it even has the spider wings, which you'd hardly ever see. And I like the concept of having like the web wings to help him kind of glide when he's in between buildings and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like that's those little touches that make this show worth it. And I mean, let's face it, the cast is diverse as you can get, and I like what they did because Norman Osborn doesn't have to be some white guy.
No.
Never had to be. They just kind of like de facto made him. And like the thing is, like with Tombstone, my primary first exposure, he wasn't really one of the comic characters that I ever came across so much. It was actually the 90s cartoon for Spider-Man the Animated Series. That's when you saw him there as Tombstone. But then he had his connections with Robbie. Yeah. But we don't see any kind of thing like that right now.
We don't see the Bugle.
Yeah, so the Bugle we haven't, but we've seen Peter messing around with the camera. Mm-hmm. So there's possibilities there. They're leaving so many things open.
Exactly.
And that's what's going to be interesting to see where everything goes. Now, I do have to say, if anybody would like to discuss their feelings on Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, you can email me at dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. All one word, Dragoon is spelled with 2 O's. That's dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. Now, I want you guys to interact with us and email us about that. Let us know what you think, because we don't know if TikTok's going to survive for long, but like I've said before, I'm not going anywhere on there. I'm still posting the shorts on there, so you get snippets and bits and clips of these episodes. And Jimmy and I have done as pretty well a job as we can do when it comes to giving you guys some great content. But we need your help, because even when Mike is here, even with the three of us, we need some ideas. We need a little more talking points. So if you guys reach out to us and you let us know what you're thinking, we would highly appreciate it, because like I've said in the past, you tell us what you want us to take a look at. You tell us what you want for your opinion on what we're talking about. This goes a long way to building our community. And then you can always join the Discord group that I have links in my link tree on all of my socials, which is Blue Dragoon 13. Easiest way to find me. And Jimmy's easy to find too. We'll give you all those socials later.
Yep.
But when you guys interact with us, it gives us more to give back to you. So, to steal a phrase, help me to help you, help me to help you, help me to help you. You go and you help us by telling us what you like, and we can go and discuss that. And we can give our opinions on things. You know, there's going to be movies and shows that I'm not familiar with. Even though I have a library of things that I have knowledge of, but I can't instant recall it as quickly as I wish I could. Jimmy is almost an encyclopedia when it comes to certain facts. So it's one of those things where we need you guys to help bring that out of us. And that's all we ask for. And that's sending us an email, leaving us a comment on any of our socials. If you leave us comments on the TikTok shorts, on the reels, I do my best to take a look at them, try to like respond to any of them. If you guys are just, even if they're just a weird comment, even if I just find it funny, I'm going to like it. But that's why we want the engagement from you guys. Now, get off of that soapbox for a minute there, because just want to cover, Invincible did come back. I watched the first 3 episodes.
I didn't even know it came back. I will start watching that.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to cover that. But I will say one of the best things that they did for Invincible was the recap.
Good.
Because you can't, watching that recap, I did not remember some of the stuff. I remembered a good chunk, but at the same time, there's elements and even references back to season 1. So season 3 of Invincible, like, this is one thing that definitely we're going to be discussing down the road, especially on the next episode.
And in a few weeks, because next week it begins the final.
Yes, Cobra Kai.
On the 13th, so we will discuss that.
Yeah, we're going to be talking Cobra Kai and Invincible. This is your early warning that our next episode, we are having 2 topics already laid out there, so you guys can get involved early on. Send us your thoughts before we record, because you guys have to understand, we are so excited to talk about this stuff, but we don't want to exclude you guys from the conversation.
We also don't want to hear the crickets chirping as we're discussing this stuff. Please show your support. Email us at
dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. That's all one word. Dragoon is spelled with 2 O's. That's dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com.
Oh, yes.
I get a kick out of doing that every single time. You know, that's my own little shill and rant.
Why not? Why not? I give cheers to that.
Oh, yeah. Now, we got to talk, because I made the decision to go and do a movie that unfortunately you have to pay to see, which, you know, I try not to do that because I don't want people to spend any more extra money than they have to, and to find some good entertainment.
Oh,
now,
I did.
And you found it, and how did you find it?
I found it in FYE at Menlo Park, in their DVD Blu-ray bin.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, it's either you could rent it on Amazon, you could still buy the physical DVD. I already have the DVD, but it's also available for rental online, so, you know. But now, John Carpenter's They Live. This movie is iconic for many different reasons. It's known for having one of the longest fight scenes in film history. Not only that, but having Roddy Piper and Keith David together in a movie, that was absolute gold right there. Now, you know, there's a lot of relevancy to a movie like this, because when you look at the time frame, this was, what was it, 86, 88?
Yeah.
So during that time, we were in a point in American society where you were having people were losing their jobs because jobs were shipping overseas. Yeah. So, you know, the auto manufacturing was moving overseas because, you know, it was cheaper labor to go overseas, and companies are getting tax breaks. So you have people out of work, living in tent villages and stuff. This is something that has happened throughout history.
And it still is ongoing.
Exactly. So seeing something like that in a movie, and then on top of it, you've got Roddy Piper going and looking for work, doing a construction job. And then coming across this whole conspiracy where they've discovered aliens that are manipulating us and trying to get us to just be consumers. Because that was one of the things I loved about the concept with the glasses, letting you see past the veil of whatever this signal is that they're pumping to prevent us from seeing them for what they actually are. You know, seeing that's the signs that say obey. You know, the flag, I think, said obey. You had like the billboards that's consume. Mm-hmm. The money said consume. Like, they were telling us to be consumers. There is so much political talk in this one movie about how everything was and how bad things were. But you saw people were willing to turn on each other to make a buck, which says something about the way society was. So, Jimmy, you can correct me if I'm wrong in any of my assumptions and take on how this is. So,
it's right on this, and including in that movie, and it was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, seeing them come up with, and seeing like the police coming in, storming in and destroying the tent city of people who are homeless because they can't get work. Even though it's not like they're not trying to work, but they're trying to take care of themselves, and the only way they can survive, watching an old TV out in the open, I'm like, they tapped into like the power poles and stuff to get electricity. You don't see some of those elements, but they're there. You know, Rowdy Piper like sitting there watching TV through somebody's window and stuff. This was what it used to be when things were bad. And I hate to say it, but there's almost like that correlation of things kind of seeming to be going in that same direction, where we're being pushed to be consumers. Once again, it's consume, consume, consume. And that's the thing. This movie speaks on so many levels, which is why I have to say John Carpenter was always ahead of his time. His movies may not have made a ton of money at the box office, but they killed when they got to home rental. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing.
He was iconic.
Oh, beyond iconic. You figure he did the music for his movies, but he also went and directing his movies, he was cutting edge on things that most people didn't think about. And the topics that this movie covers for They Live, it's absolutely amazing what it hits, and it's still relevant today. And then Meg Foster. That woman, back then, her eyes still stand out to this very day. If I ever had the opportunity to meet Meg Foster, I think I'd probably forget my name just looking at those eyes.
Yep.
Which, that's only happened to me twice. Twice in my entire life. The first time, Trish Stratus.
Of course.
Completely forgot my name. The other, Danielle Harris. I completely forgot my name. Thankfully, I was with a buddy of ours, Dan. So now you've got 3 Dans together. So at the convention, Dans. Almost, but no. So it was like, thankfully, he was able to remind me. It's like, Danny, like to remind me my name. So, you know, and that was just at a convention. So I've gotten better. But still, it's one of those moments where you're like, you look at Meg Foster and she is just iconic. It's hard that, like, you think of They Live or Masters of the Universe when you see Meg Foster.
Yep.
And I mean, Masters of the Universe wasn't a great movie. It was a fun movie, but it wasn't a great movie. But she was such a standout in that.
Evil Lynn.
And Frank Langella as Skeletor.
That makeup.
But John Carpenter's They Live, the look of the aliens, where it was almost like they didn't have skin, and you could kind of see the makeup work on this movie was amazing for when you did see what they look like. And I love the concept that the glasses kind of gave you like a headache and made you high, almost like if you were wearing like the 3D glasses trying to watch a movie in the theaters nowadays. Oof. it gave that sense of realness. It wasn't like, oh, you're just wearing them and you can see them. No, there are consequences for wearing them. So it's like you're gonna get a headache, you know, you're getting what feels like a migraine. You can't wear it all the time. The wristwatches that the aliens wore, where they were able to communicate with each other,
that move through portals.
And yeah, outside of the portal tech, that's a smartwatch nowadays, where, you know, you can still like answer your phone through your watch. So it was ahead of its time, and the topics were so on point. And it is probably one of the most quotable movies you can find.
Especially, do you have a popular quote?
Go ahead.
I'm here, chew bubble gum, kick ass, and chew bubble gum. And I'm all out of bubble gum.
Yep. And that's the thing. I believe you're misquoting it, but
I think it might be reversed, but
no, it's I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum. But, you know, they said Rowdy Roddy Piper went to John Carpenter, and when he was cast, gave him like a book that he had been writing of all of these different catchphrases and stuff and insults that he had come up with from being a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
And not only that, but his experiences, because Rowdy Piper originally was on the street for in his youth. So he had that rough outgoing like experience. So it translates so well on screen that you could tell this is a guy who's had that experience. And I only know this from later on, from like the A&E biographies that they've done on like Rowdy Piper and the other wrestlers. But Piper's one of these guys where it worked. His real life was rough, and he took that on and made that into this movie's like portrayal of the character was absolutely amazing.
It was amazing, and I'm glad. And I mean, this. You remember, this was his second movie.
Yeah.
Because he did Body Slam years ago with Dirk Benedict and Captain Oh, who can't remember that? That is still iconic.
Oh, Body
Another
Slam.
iconic Rob.
Yeah, but Body Slam was just, ooh.
It was bad, but it was hysterical.
Yeah. But
getting back to They Live, it's, like you said, that fight scene alone where he's trying to tell, put him on. And he said, no, he just beat them.
Oh, yeah, just trying to get him to wear the glasses so he could show him that he's not crazy and that there are these weird looking aliens like running around. Although I do have to say, the box art. Who was it that ran for president on the Republican side back in, what was it, 2004?
I believe it was, what was it? Not Mitt Romney.
No. Not McCain.
No, McCain was during 2008 one.
Yeah, it was like
I think it was, but I think Bush was in between there during 2004.
No, but there was one that was running. Might have been 2008, but I swear he looks like an alien version of the politician back then. So it was one of those funny moments where I was just like, I saw it on the box art, and you're just like, are you kidding me? So, you know, I'm not into conspiracy theories, but maybe they are lizard people right now. The billionaire oligarchs that are taking over the country.
Yeah, it was Obama running back then, and he was running up against McCain, Ralph Nader, and Bob Barr.
So it was McCain.
McCain.
So I swear, looks like McCain, like just an alien version because of the hair.
Yes.
The hair itself just looked like McCain. And that's the thing, you know, I'm not trying to make fun of anybody for it. It's just, and because this movie was made in 86, 83, 88.
Yeah.
So when you're looking back that far versus then, somebody still kept that same hairstyle. You know, it's one of those funnier moments where it was just like, he looks like the politician. Like, I'm like, wait a second, this looks like the guy running for president. It's just one of those things where you're just like, you got to be kidding me. You know, and the thing is, when you look at now, the way society has been, we have a consumer-driven market where they're telling us to consume, but then they're telling us it's going to be hard times and we're going to struggle, but they still want us to keep buying stuff, where it's like you can't afford to buy stuff, but we still want you to buy stuff. It really boils down to, and I hate getting political, but unfortunately, this is one of those movies where it is political, because there is that policy. And this was the 80s where, and you know, the 80s were considered the age of excess. You know, it was live fast, die young, leave a good looking corpse.
Hey man, let's party.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Everybody went, and there was a lot of crazy shit going on back then.
Yeah.
But politically, like financially, it really was a lot of people telling you to buy, consume, keep getting things, and just follow the status quo and just keep doing things. That's what this movie, They Live, really is about. That's these alien overlords trying to tell us, just fall in line, be the sheep. If you work with us, you will go, and we'll reward you if you turn on your own people. And when they finally, like, that fight scene in the alley is so visceral because they're just doing it. And you know Piper had his hand in choreographing that.
Yep.
But Keith David keeping up with Piper, it was absolutely amazing.
They both went punch for punch, shot for shot.
Oh yeah, it looked like a hard street fight.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, they didn't water it down. And
No.
I love the fact that South Park copied that fight move for move with the cripple fight between Jimmy and Timmy.
Yes.
So,
But except that, unlike them, they had Cartman go, "Attention, please, shoppers. A cripple fight is outside," and everybody runs out like a riot.
yeah, cripple fight. But no, that was the thing. This movie really has like that visceral, like it's raw. Now, yes, you do have like the shootout and stuff, the cops like hunting everybody down.
Yeah.
You know, I don't recommend going into a bank wearing glasses, thinking people are aliens and shooting at people in the bank. But, you know, it was something that it was the institution. You figured the institution was basically going and favoring people for wealth and making them rich, turning their back on their humanity and not trying to help their fellow man. So what do we have? They go, and it's like now when they finally have woken up, they're both wearing the glasses. Even Meg Foster, like after she went, knocks Piper out of her apartment through the window and like knocks him out of her house, goes and sits there. She's calling the cops. She picks up the glasses. So it was like even she took a chance, even though this crazy guy's holding her hostage, basically. So, you know, the crazy guy on the street corner yelling, like, this is the end of the world, you know, the street preacher, they might be onto something.
Yeah.
So, and I love the fact that the preacher was blind.
Yeah.
So it was like he's feeling Piper's face. That's probably how he discovered the aliens in the first place, because he touched them. He felt their hands, felt the face, saw like it felt like it was almost bony. Like there was some kind of like tough exterior, but there didn't feel like regular skin. When they finally do get to that ball, that big gala event,
Yes.
it was hilarious because you've got what is Buck Flowers there, like showing them around, thinking like that they sided with them.
It's like, oh yeah, here you go, and there's this guy here, and this guy. Hey, you want to see everything else? Come on with me.
Yeah, that was great because it's like you don't realize it's like, and then they turn and they actually go and they broke the signal and like snapped everybody out of it. And you have to admit, it's one of the funniest things where it's like you have like people like all of a sudden seeing the facade from now these aliens are done. I think the funniest one was the girl and the guy
sex scene.
Yeah, the sex scene was where it's like they're having sex and it's like, what? It's like, oh God, like she was creeped out. You know,
She's gonna have the alien baby.
Oh, she was rushing out of there real quick. But it's one of those things where there was so much going on in that movie that we can still apply today. You know, resisting the rich, trying to hold everybody down, and basically going and taking everything away, but just turning us into mindless sheep.
That was about the same time. That was like they were doing, it was like almost a year of alien movies because they did that. And then what followed it or what preceded? Alien Nation.
Yep, Alien Nation on television, but
and
also...
even in the movie theater with James Caan and...
yeah, but also let's not forget V.
Yes.
The miniseries.
That was the predecessor.
I would love for us to be able to go through this, but I want all three of us there to go over like the original V miniseries, because that's one that really stuck out for me.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing, you know, like there was the aliens of invading and trying to take us over. These themes are the outsider, but sometimes it's not the outsider you have to worry about. It's the elite.
Yep.
The people that are in charge are the ones that are the lizard people or the weird alien. You know, they're the ones trying to dictate to us how we're supposed to live and preventing us from surviving and taking care of our families. And that was what they lived, the thematics that were there. It was all about, you figure, what was it? Keith David's character, Frank, he's saying, he's like, he wants to do the right thing to help his family. So he's trying to make money to help his family before he gets dragged into all of this stuff with the aliens.
Yep.
And that's all anybody really wants. But you have like these rich aliens that are giving people all this access to this high elite status, money, power, all for turning on their own people. That's the thing. It's relevant to this day. There are some times where, you know, I like to look at a movie and just have fun with it. And, you know, you don't really you notice I haven't done like a full analysis and breakdown of a movie like I have today.
Yeah.
I can. I don't want to. I want to talk about the fun elements.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the enjoyment. And this is a movie that, yes, I enjoy it. I can watch this movie over and over again. I'm not going to say I won't get tired of it, but watching this one every few months, I could do that. If it's on TV or on a streaming platform, if it's streaming, I'll watch it if I have the chance. But if it's on television, I'm not changing the channel.
No.
This movie speaks on so many different levels. And like I said, with Rowdy Piper and Keith David in there, that I was already sold.
Yes.
Keith David alone, like I said in the last episode, his voice, because of his work, like I loved seeing him in They Live and in John Carpenter's The Thing. Mm-hmm. Like he has like this great range, and then his performances being part of Disney. You know, you figure most people forget that they know him as Dr. Facilier in The Princess and the Frog, but people forget that he was the voice of Goliath on Disney's Gargoyles.
And he was Spawn.
Yep, he did the HBO Spawn voice. Not only that, but he's also in Has Been Hotel. Mm-hmm. So he has done so much over the years and is such a prolific actor that I feel doesn't get the credit that he fully deserves. And if Rowdy Piper was still with us, I feel like if he would have continued acting and done more things acting-wise instead of just wrestling, he would have been one of the precursors before like The Rock and Batista and John Cena.
Even Hogan.
Yeah. Hogan's movie career was terrible, to say the very least.
Meh.
No, it was terrible.
Yeah, meh.
Listen, not even meh. It was terrible. Suburban Commando, funny movie, but it's mostly funny because of Christopher Lloyd and the one small scene with The Undertaker.
I give you clean sheets.
Yeah, or The Undertaker.
Oh, yeah.
You paid for this, Ramses? Oh, they sound like that?
Him and Tony Longo.
Yeah, but then you go and you have, like, wrestlers have tried getting into acting and stuff. Some of them are successful. Copeland Edge himself.
Yeah.
Adam Copeland did a great job in all the things he's done, film-wise, television shows. Some of them are more television actors than film actors. Some of them are better in movies, and you don't want to see them on a series. But there's talent there. And Piper's one of those guys that had that talent, not just to tell a story, but to make it truly believable and to have that impact. So I wish he was still with us, because the legacy of Roddy Piper shouldn't just be like his wrestling career and the few movies that he did, but they live as a prime example of how talented he really was.
You can never forget that.
Yep. And Meg Foster, oh man, like, she didn't say a lot and she didn't do a lot in this movie.
But she was an influence and she was an impact.
Oh yeah, you saw, like, from the little bit that she did in this movie.
And then you see who she worked for.
Yep.
And everything, the importance.
Yeah, the fact that she worked for the television station, and then even her betraying them at the very end. It's one of those things where you're just like, oh man. But this movie is a highly recommend. I know you're probably going to say the exact same thing.
Exactly. Oh, without a doubt.
You know,
100%.
You know, I could.
It's John. I mean, not only that. It's John freaking Carpenter.
Yeah, John Carpenter has made some amazing movies, and I love the stuff that he's done. But this is one of those movies where it's underrated. It is highly relevant even to this day. And I actually recommend that if you haven't seen it, go out there. How much did you spend? One of the few FYEs that are left?
$11.
$11 for a DVD.
One left.
Yeah. So if you can find it,
get it.
I recommend buying the physical copy, but also rent it on Amazon, because that's where it's available right now as a rental or to buy. But check this movie out, because John Carpenter's They Live, the relevancy of what it is to this very day is absolutely something that you can see the parallels of the world from the 80s to today. The excess, the scumbag nature of the rich. It's one of those things where, what was it from the 80s that was a big thing for the excess? Greed, for lack of a better term, is good. The problem is that's not good. And we all need...
sucks.
Yeah. Listen, there's a time for self-preservation, and then there's a time, though, where we need to turn around and help each other out. And this movie's one of those perfect examples of the excess being pushed aside because for the greater good. Because when you have people that are trying to dictate everything to you, you should be able to fight back against the oppressors. And I'm not saying that in any way of violence. I mean, like, push back, getting the corruption out of there. And that's the thing that this does. Is showing you that there are levels of corruption that you may not even think of. John Carpenter had such a great way of putting these things into perspective that they're thinking movies, no matter how enjoyable they are. And just quick recommendations for John Carpenter movies. John Carpenter's remake of The Thing.
Yes. Because
John Carpenter's The Thing is a remake, and it is a phenomenal movie. Now, Big Trouble in Little China, another one, highly recommend.
And speaking of him and Kurt Russell working together, Escape from New York.
Exactly. You know, the Escape from New York.
And everybody doesn't realize in that movie that one of the Secret Service agents is Stephen Ford, who was Gerald Ford's son, who just did his eulogy. But I always knew him from The Young and the Restless. But how funny is that? There's some good irony.
See, like I said, Jimmy is an encyclopedia of things. If you give him something to work off of, he will be able to do that. And all you have to do is send us an email at dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. That's all one word, Dragoon is spelled with 2 O's. That's dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. Now, we're going to wrap things up because I want to thank everyone for listening to us. So, Jimmy, why don't you tell everybody your socials?
Absolutely. You can reach me at, and thank you again for getting me on, especially finding even my himself on Mr. George Takei. James 925 on Blue Sky.
There you go.
And I am also on TikTok. You can reach me there at James0925. Facebook, James Haynes IV. James Haynes, James H. _ the fourth on Threads and Instagram, and James SI0925 on Snapchat. Give me a chat. Give me a line. Hey, listen. You see something there you like? Give me a like. Give me a comment. Let me know. I have no objections.
Yep. Now you can find me the easiest way on Instagram, Blue Sky, that's right, YouTube, Twitch. You can find the link to my Discord page in any one of, that's right, my link tree on all the profiles, because they're all listed as Blue Dragoon 13. So if you want to find me, it's Blue Dragoon 13. That's BLUEDRAGOON, the number 13. So you can make sure you find me on all of my socials. You can find the links, Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky. Like I said, you can find me pretty much anywhere. Leave us comments. We have our Dragoon's Lair podcast Facebook group, and we have the Instagram page. So make sure you follow us on those. You know, I know it's Facebook, it's Meta, but you know what? With any chance that we may have issues with TikTok in the long run, which you can definitely find me on TikTok, and you can check out the shorts for the episodes and some random stuff that I post every now and then on TikTok with Blue Dragoon 13. And on top of that, you can make sure you can listen to the episodes of the Dragoon's Lair podcast on all your favorite podcasting platforms, which includes iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, Amazon Podcast, our home of Spotify, along with watching us on the Blue Dragoon 13 YouTube channel. And you can see a week later. But if you cannot wait to see what we're going to do, because maybe we make some funny faces or something, you know, you can check that out on our Spotify page, because on Spotify, not only do I put polls up on the Spotify page, but you also get the video versions out 1 week before they come out on YouTube. So you get a quick preview. You can watch us on Spotify, or you can always wait and watch us on Blue Dragoon 13 YouTube channel, which I highly recommend you like, share, subscribe, do all the things, press the buttons, you know, because it helps us out. On Apple, leave us a review. Even on Amazon, leave us a review, so that this way helps other people find the shows, and that this way you can share this with your friends. So if you ever want to feel like you're having a conversation with friends, talking about movies, shows, wrestling, anything, anime, make sure you go and you leave us a comment, and make sure you send us an email at dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. That's all one word. Dragoon is spelled with 2 O's. That's dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. I had to make sure I got one more in there, so you guys can make sure that you can get in touch with us. We love hearing from you guys. We appreciate each and every one of you. And so for our next episode, though, just so everyone is aware, we will be covering the final chapter of Cobra Kai. We will also be following the 3rd season of Invincible. We should have at least 4 episodes up by then, or 5.
At least.
Yeah, 4 or 5 episodes should be up by then.
And ongoing episodes of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
I don't know if we're going to keep hitting that one as much, but
yeah. I
do want to drop the movie that I do want us to do for the following episode, which would be the original Red Dawn.
With Patrick Swayze himself.
Patrick Swayze, I believe Kurt Russell, you know, Jennifer Grey.
No.
Nope. Kurt Russell? No.
No.
Which one?
No.
You sure?
C. Thomas Howell. Patrick Swayze, Jennifer Grey.
Oh,
no, he wasn't in it.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Well, we'll find out when we discuss that on our next episode of the Dragoon's Lair podcast. But I told you, folks, he is a walking encyclopedia of information once you get him going. So with that being said, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. We appreciate each and every one of you. And remember, folks, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.